How do everyone? Yes, I've just forgot there. I put the live stream on. So hello everyone that's in the chat as well. There, I forgot to switch it on there. I can see Chris is in there. Yeah, Chris and me at the moment. I think there's a few more in there, but I can see Chris and me. So yes, hello everyone. JB, Audrey. Now, as we can see, Jess is not here. She's running an errand. I think something to do with printers not working, which JB mentioned in our little private thing that printers are the bane, aren't they? And they actually are.
Cursed technology.
Just doesn't seem to they never seem. I mean, I've got one there, which we kind of based, and it's a laser one, little black and white laser one. It's just print, man, for God's sake, just print.
They've got one job.
I know. Just
should be so simple.
So Jessie's, I think, doing an errand to print some leaflets, and she might be here, she might not, but it goes without saying that the guests that are here to stand in for Jess are just remarkable. Well, I think they're turning up any soon. So, Audrey, how are you?
I am very good, thank you.
Good.
Little groggy this morning, but that's okay.
Oh, good.
Well, I go through bad sleep, so it's not like it's nothing new.
Well, I was just saying to JB, Audrey, I've got toothache, so I was up. I don't know. I could have been chatting with you. I was up at bloody.
Oh.
I woke up. I went to bed. I fell asleep at 9:30, and it was 12:30, and I just get up here, and I was popping pills as if they came out of a Smartie tube. You know what I mean? I was just taking everything. You know what I mean? They'll do.
Well, toothaches, the tooth pain is bad.
Well, I had this hot and cold thing on one side. So I went to the dentist ages ago. All right. It's you'll need either a root canal or an extraction. And I was like, well, I don't want to fancy a root canal. I said, I'll just get it taken out. It took a month to get this appointment. Goes in the other day, on Wednesday or something. They snapped me tooth, and there's even when you're numbed up, you still can feel not a feel a snap, but you still that sound is still there. And and I heard him talking, saying, if it gets worse, come in. So I'm in that kind of stage there now. It's gotten worse. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pills next to us. Sorry?
I said the roots of the tooth are still in your head?
Still in there. And I mean, well, they did the actual hot and cold feeling's gone. Do you know what I mean? And he said, it should be all right. You might get away with it and you just leave it in there and eventually because you can't really see it. You know what I mean? But
I know, but it's still an open root in there. I don't know that. Wow, that sounds like something waiting to happen.
Well, no, the way they were talking already, it was to have to go to hospital, to have to get the bone cut away and all that. I know. So I don't mind getting put to sleep. Just I'm quite kind of used to that. Just get us the appointment quick. You know what I mean? Not this kind of right. Well, it'll be a month for one of those ones, and then we'll have to send you to the dental school, and that'll be another month. And it's
yeah.
The stomach can only take so many painkillers before it kind of starts rejecting.
Yes, no kidding.
I'm a big baby on pain. That's me. Audrey.
I hate to make a general statement, but don't men really hate pain?
Oh,
not that any of us love it.
Doesn't everyone?
I know, not that anybody loves it. I just think women are a little more.
Yeah, no, totally.
Got a stiffer upper lip sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
When I'm bad, everyone in the house already knows about it. You know what I mean? I'm like the grumpy bear. Do you know what I mean? Just leave us alone. I'm going to bed.
Well,
anyway, let's talk.
Isn't it called a man flu? I mean, you even have a name for it.
But
we just get the flu.
Man flu is just horrific. Do you know what I mean?
It's just
on another level. It's on another level. You wouldn't understand. Any gardening? Let's talk about gardening. JB, nice to have you here. I was going to ask you, JB, I wrote this little kind of question up there because I'm in the middle now, if you can call it the middle, of the tidy up.
I saw. Yeah, I saw your last video. Just in tidy.
The glut over, glut it was, you know what I mean? So now it's like God. Are you get it done now this season, or wait till next season and get it done?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm in ripping out mode as well. I think it'll take me a bit longer than it will you than yours will. Your beds are all quite neat and tidy, and my beds are all just completely overgrown, and they're pretty big as well. I started giving one a little bit of a zhuzh and a tinker the other day, and it was just like, oh, it's going to take a lot of time. It's a lot of time consuming. Like getting, I could just hoe it all off, but there's a lot of like bindweed and like taprooty stuff that's a lot more time consuming to go through. You got to go through with a bit of a fine-tooth comb, and I've been very, very negligent since like June, probably. Like,
so the beginning of the season.
Yeah, it's not great.
It does
not much mulching this summer either. So yeah, the back plot is looking really good. I've started there. I've got sort of 3 nice raised beds that I've sorted out. They're all good, and I gave the Big Bertha bed a bit of a going over last weekend. But plot 1, like the original plot with the 2 greenhouses, jungle. It's in jungle mode, so yeah.
So when you're saying you're going through the fine-tooth comb, are you digging over, JB, or just dig?
Yeah, it's a good question. So on the back plot where I've got the beds that I'm building up, I did in one of them do quite a lot of digging. The one that I tried the onions in, and the onions all just went no. They like this big. I planted them in the Boxing Day onions. They just did not grow. And that one seemed really compacted. So I've given that quite a big dig. The other ones, I'm just kind of building up. They're the scaffolding raised beds. There's quite a lot of material I can get in there.
Right. That's quite a nice thing to do, that. So do you mean like you're building up the actual bed, so you're putting like another height layer on so you can just put more?
No. When I built the bed in the first place, I didn't have loads and loads of compost. So the soil level is not actually that high in there at the moment. So I just want to kind of get it almost to the top of the first scaffolding boards. And that's still a decent amount of soil for stuff to be getting their roots into.
What will that be? Brought in compost, like bought compost? Because that's
mostly well-rotted manure.
Oh, right.
So mostly well-rotted manure that I need to try and get the timing right so that it's got enough time to break down and it's not too rich to plant into. So I think mostly kind of December time, although I might have a little look in the chat for recommended kind of timing for doing, like, it's not fresh manure. It is really well rotted, but it still does need a bit of time. If you were just planting straight into it, I think I know it's too rich because I've planted into it before as an experiment. And
but you could, surely you could put it on now and not plant it until, say, May. That would be all right.
So I've started. I did like 4 bags on each bed, which is pretty chunky. It's like 300 liters of compost, but there's still way more to go. And it's like a tricky balance because if you do it too early, then a lot of the goodness will have washed out. So I'm thinking kind of November, December should be okay for then kind of planting into in April, May. But I'll see. I'll see what everyone thinks. But yes, on plot 1, on the original plot, the OG plot, I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do RE digging just yet, but there'll be some digging, that's for sure. I'm just not sure exactly. Probably the beds that have done the worst, because some of them have been better than others this year. I've got a little L bed where all the courgettes and everything that went in, just terrible. So yeah, Ian's just said in the chat, compost by the ton bag is pretty cheap. Yeah, it absolutely is not. No way. I remember when I was looking before, it quite often I found it worked out cheaper to buy the smaller bags when you get a bulk discount on the smaller bags rather than the ton bags, because I generally saw ton bags were like at least 80 quid. But he has just said maybe I'm looking in the wrong places, which is
remember I know you remember Hannah that used to come on here and is in our she got for her restaurant garden like bought in like dumpy bags, and I don't know what they paid, obviously the restaurant was paying for it. It was just gorgeous stuff. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, if you could, do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
my garden's a little bit awkward, but if you could just get like dumpy bags onto my, you know what I mean, just right over, put them down there. Oh, lovely. But no,
Ian says it's 40 quid a ton up
that's
where
all
he is,
right.
but yeah, that's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
literally half the price of what we paid. I had to get some in a while back. I did like a topsoil compost mix for when we were putting a little raised bed in the back garden, and it was decent stuff, but it was about 70 quid, 75 quid or something like that a bag. It's a lot.
Mind you, you're looking at the lad that's just paid, you know, like £27 for 2 bags of straw, you know, to put on that squelch, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, it is amazing. If you do get a ton bag, it doesn't go that far. It does not go nearly as far as you expect, you know, especially if you've got a fair few beds to whack stuff over.
And like you say, if you're going to give it a good couple of inches, it doesn't go far at all.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
definitely.
It's like, I still like that Keith Singleton's soil conditioner one. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I think they come in 100-litre bags, and they're still $8.99. But it's
Do you know what actually goes into that? Like, what is it made of?
soil conditioner.
No idea.
No, soil
No,
conditioner.
good stuff. That's all.
Funny
Ingredients,
enough,
good stuff.
JB, funny enough, when you said that, it rained, and I think rain reveals loads of secrets from compost. Do you know what I mean? It kind of, because when you put it down, it's all nice and black and dark and all everything. But then I noticed this time, I'll be honest, there was little bits of like white in. You know, I'm thinking, well, what's this? You know, like the rain had washed all that, like the loam off. You know, but I've always had good experience with it, so I can't complain. You know what I mean? So, Audrey, are you a tidy up girl now, or leave it till the end,
No,
like or next
actually,
year?
no, we're kind of starting to do the pack it up. Cleaned out some flowers that honestly were just beyond recognition. They just were not going to come back. But I'm planting out some perennial seeds this week.
God loves a trier, eh? You've been trying all year, I'll be honest.
Well, but the perennials, if they get any kind of root system developed, they'll come back again next spring. And if not, I'll plant them again in the spring. But yeah, so I'm trying to look at what I'm doing next year. We're also doing a lot of structural stuff. So I'm okay to not get another crop in there, which is not my norm. But, you know, we got to take some time to get it set up, or that puts the whole next year on hold. And I don't want to do that. So I'm still harvesting. You know, tomatoes, weird year, but they're still coming. Celeriac is looking wonderful. I have leeks out there still, and onions still in the ground. So, and a whole bunch of potatoes and sweet potatoes. So, there's still a lot growing out there.
What about your tomato sucker, Audrey? How's that?
Well, I meant to take
You
a picture.
were quite adamant and confident that you would get a tomato on, if I remember rightly, a couple of months ago. Well, of course,
really, we're still, today is 80 here, which for you guys is what? A lot. 20, 27 maybe?
Blimey.
I didn't ask your temperature, Audrey. I didn't ask the temperature. I asked if you got it.
We haven't dropped temperatures like you guys have at night. So we're still in. It's okay for tomatoes to grow right now here. So that's why I'm confident I'm going to get them, because we're not dropping low like you guys are. When I saw your like forecasts for your evenings, I'm thinking that is insane. Yeah, that's really low. So we haven't dipped below 10 yet at night. So, and that's usually the cutoff to me for tomatoes or peppers, is once you start heading lower than that, you've got some problems.
Well, what I am doing, Audrey, and it seems to be working, the little cherry tomatoes out here, I've been picking, you know, and you can tell they're just going to go, they've got that kind of tinge to them where they're on the turn. I've been picking them.
They're winking at you, Tony. They're winking at you, saying, pick me.
So I've been picking all them, just leaving them in a bowl on the kitchen table there. And the first batch are proper red tomatoes there now. So it looks like whichever ones that are on that turn, I can get them. But there's some like, I'm gonna have to do like a fried green tomato recipe or something like that, because there'll be quite a few that are still green. And I
That's gonna say
noticed.
that's a lot of fried green tomatoes.
Well, Ian in the chat there, he was mentioned as well. He, like we're on about ripping out. He's still picking. You know what I mean? It's his season's still going. You know what I mean? He's
Oh
like
yeah, no,
desperately trying to
I'm
get
thinking, Tony, have you ever frozen just the whole cherry tomato?
in. Well, just a tomato. Yes, just bang them in. Not a green one, a red one.
No, but a red one. So do you
Oh
do that
yes,
with your
yes.
cherry? Okay, because that'll make a nice, just fresh sauce for you uh, in the middle of
No,
winter, which is
Audrey,
nice.
we've never had enough this year to kind of to prep for the winter, so we're just using them as we go. I mean, to
Okay.
be honest, breakfasts have been lovely of late. We've been having like the cherry tomatoes on like a sourdough bit of bread
Nice.
with like a
Oh, nice.
crispy, like a bed of tomatoes fried in garlic, and then Reed does
Mm.
these
Oh,
eggs that are like, it's a fried egg, but it's like crispy around the edges. Oh, and a bit of hot sauce on. So
Now we're talking.
I had
yeah,
Frank's last night. Jay Bean thought of you.
Nice. Very
yeah.
I
good.
thought, oh, JB would be loving this.
So
Yeah.
Audrey, how would you describe this year then? Because, like you say, you're on the other side of the. You know what I mean? Is it the worst it's been for you this year, or?
I think this has been probably my most challenging garden year of recent memory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and things are getting moldy really fast, and
Yes.
I don't understand that because I'm like, that shouldn't happen quite yet. That's usually an October thing when my garden looks like
Mm-hmm.
something invaded it. But we got that mid September this year. So although I'm still harvesting, I'm still clipping flowers, I'm still, 1 foot in front of the other. Radicchio's looking great for the fall. Some fall lettuces are looking good. So, I'm not unhappy, but this wasn't one of those, hey, what a year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've gotten 3 zucchinis off my
Me
4
too.
plants.
Yeah.
Off
Me
4
too.
plants. Come on. Usually I would
That
have
should
like
have.
50.
Yeah, I was
I'd
going to
have
say that should have
50 and
kept
I'd
you.
be having a sale in the corner. Like, please just take them, please. I really thought I'd overplanted because I haven't planted them in so long. Because you end up with such a glut of those. I think I have 3.
Mm-hmm.
So a weird year. Weird.
Which Audrey? Which out of all the veggies that have failed for you, which has been the one that's kind of cut the deepest?
Um.
That's a
Wow.
good question.
That is a good question. Um. I've been very disappointed with my purple heartthrob tomatoes because those are one of my favorite ones to preserve, and they didn't. I mean, they produced, but a handful. And I have like what 13 plants out there, and of
Mm.
those, just of that variety, and they just have not kicked it up. So that might be. I haven't finished. I haven't harvested sweet potatoes yet, so I don't know what those will do. Um, onions, I got some, but we've just bought a 50-pound case of them.
Wow.
So, you know, so yeah, it has not been, but I keep on,
I got
planting.
it. Yes, yes, yes.
You just
JB,
got to keep going because you never know. Like today, it might be perfect,
You
and
never
everything
know.
grows, a foot.
JB,
So,
what about you then? Is there something that you
I
caught?
think Well, there were a lot of like catastrophic failures. The onions have probably got to be the worst, the absolute worst. But I was expecting, I was expecting them to all get white rot. What I will say, they were all like literally tiny. I harvested them all the other day. I'm going to pickle them, so they're not going to waste. They're like perfect little, silver skin pickling onion size. But I was kind of expect. Oh yeah, what I meant to say is none of them had white rot, which is bonus. Like that's a bonus. Maybe the white rot kind of took one look at them and went, "No, I don't want any of that. I don't want any of those pathetic
But
onions."
as nice as it is to get pickling onions, aren't they a pain to prep?
Well, I haven't done them yet because they're a pain.
I did mine last week, and it was like, oh my god, it takes as long to prep that as it did like a 50-pound bag of nice big sweet Vidalia onions that are the size of, a big fist. And
Yeah.
Same amount of work. Cute little onions, but wow. I think I'll buy those next year.
Yeah, definitely. The thing I have been probably most disappointed by that I was really, really excited for, it's quite a minor one, but it's like my basil. My basil just did not grow this year. And I really was looking forward to having like bushels of it, like loads and loads of it to mix in with all the tomato crops. And a lot of them they just didn't get going. And then when the sun finally did come out, they all just started bolting. We had one plant that looked okay in the back garden. We did a little hair planter in the back garden, but it didn't last very long before it started bolting as well.
That's JB, that hit the nail on the head there. My basil, I remember. I mean, I didn't plant anything up the polytunnel, but we had herb little ones up here, and they germinated all right, and they started off looking good, and then just went to mush and just was terrible. So
yeah, mine too. I had like one or two basil plants that looked quite good, and they're the ones that got completely murdered by slugs. So I came up to the allotment like a few days after seeing them and thinking, hey, they look really good, and gone, just completely gone. And I must have planted out like at least 10 basil plants, and they're all just waste of time.
Basil as well is like fundamental building blocks for like a red sauce, or just with the garlic and the red sauce. It's just like like you might as well have no tomatoes if you got no basil. You know what I mean? So
I'm gonna try and grow some hydroponically, so that when we start defrosting our sauces, at least we got some fresh basil to add.
That's a good idea.
Can add it in then.
Yeah.
Mind you, can I just flip this conversation on its head and just? I want to use. I mean, years have seen it, but just marvel in the. You know what I mean? Just marvel in the execution of that, man. This was the biggest surprise I've had in gardening for a long time. Do you know what I mean? I'm like 10 miles from. Well, I'm 4 miles from where we live, from the wall. Like Hadrian's Wall. We're north, and I would never have thought in a month of Sundays I could grow a sweet potato in our climate. And it was just poking up it was just kind of poking at the top of that, and I was like rummaging. I thought, I'll just have a little, and then just like mother chucker.
Nice. How many did you get?
I haven't. Well, wasn't Audrey and Jess saying leave them till they kind of basically fall over? So it might be one of them.
Your greens still look very nice.
Yeah. So I was intending to leave it basically until it maybe the frost hit it. Do you know what I mean? Because I wanted obviously I'll do. I
got to be honest though, Tony. When I first saw that, I wasn't sure if it was a carrot or a sweet potato.
Yeah, Audrey, that's just apparently this Jesse did say this was a long, it is a certain.
It's meant to be that size.
It's meant to be like that. You know what I mean?
I've never grown one quite like that. So kudos to you, my friend.
I should not be casting any stones. Like I haven't harvested mine yet, so
have you got them, JB? Are they looking decent though? A decent plant?
I've got one good plant is in a 30-litre tub. You did yours in a tub, didn't you?
Yes, it was a 60-litre one.
Ooh, that's twice the size of my pot. Yeah, so we'll see how mine are doing. Mine have got one that is grown above the soil that I only recently discovered and now don't want to disturb. It looks really creepy and weird, but I'm hoping it's hopefully a good sign that something's happening under the soil. I don't know.
Well, if you've never harvested sweet potatoes, they can sometimes look like the most contorted things you've ever seen in your life.
Okay.
But they're usually just as good. They just don't look, you won't see those in the shop ever.
Yes. Yeah. The
But
rejects.
I've pulled out some very interesting looking, I don't even know what I'd call it, orange things that come out. But they
Nice.
taste great.
I did plant as well. I tried one in the ground in the greenhouse, but it was too shaded out by all the other tomatoes. It took a while to get going. So I thought it's not going to do anything. But since I started thinning the tomatoes and taking out some of the cucumbers and that kind of thing, it suddenly sprung to life. So it's probably a bit too late for it, but you never know. It might have been doing something slowly underground this whole time. But it started like spiraling up all over the place.
Are they a little bit like potatoes, Audrey, where, like sometimes you pull a potato and you get like a couple of like big ones and then the rest are just scatty little things, or is it just all higgledy-piggledy, or?
Well,
I'm hoping this is not the only one. That's what
I mean, it grows very differently than a potato. But so on these vines, it's like it starts to swell where the fruit is going to be. And so depending on how long the vine has been in the ground, they might be little skinny, little teeny things that look like a baby carrot. Or you pull out things and they're like 5 pounds a piece. And, and you really have to go in to try to get it out because it's very solid in there. But it's a little more fun, I think, to harvest those than a regular potato because it's more like an archaeological dig. Like you really have to go after them.
The great sweet potato excavation.
It is.
Did you get the same variety, JB, as me? Did you? Did you get that?
Did you get it from DT Brown?
Yes.
After I said, yeah.
Yes.
I can't remember the variety, but I think we got the same one.
Now I'm growing the Japanese kind, the Murasakis, which are white ivory on the inside and purple skin on the outside.
Right.
They're very nutty. My husband's very fussy on certain things, and sweet potatoes is one of them. He doesn't like the sweet ones, but these I've been able to get him to enjoy. So
nice.
We made some the other day. Well, when I say we, the royal Reed. He's using me fancy blender, JB. Audrey, me fancy. Yeah, it's never off the kitchen bench now. He's like, all I can hear is like, but he made some sweet potato and chickpea hummus, which was absolutely lovely the other day. Yeah. So we've even ordered. You know how you can get chickpeas from the corner shop for like 50 pence a tin, but you can also get chickpeas in glass jars that are like £4.50 from Waitrose. So we've ordered. There was a deal on Ocado, which is Audrey over here as like an online supermarket where you get delivered. So we've got a couple of these fancy because you got 30% off your first order, a little bit like HelloFresh. We ordered 2 of these jars of like, and I've seen Jamie, Oliver use them. Do you know what I mean? So it's like a glass jar, and you see them in Italian delis, and it's like chickpeas, and they are fatter than the other one. So we're going to have like a hummus off, see if we can taste the difference. Do you know what I mean?
Very good.
Well, I'm going to try sweet potato gnocchi this year. Because I thought that might be really nice. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the first things I want to try.
Well, I've subscribed, Audrey, to, I think they're called Pasta Grannies on YouTube. And it's this YouTube channel. It's a woman who goes round. And they're all like 94-year-old Italian grannies making all these different, like spinach gnocchi and all them kind of different.
And they can do it in their sleep. They've been doing that their whole lives.
They're tottering around. Putting like pans on open flames full of tomatoes, and then like the thinnest tea towels. You know, two of them are lifting
Yeah.
it off
Right.
and tottering back to the. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, oh, but
Yeah. Yeah, no, Italian grandmas are
Oh.
the best.
I think actually we're having carbonara tonight as well. Like
Lovely.
Reed's doing.
We've got chili on the stove already, and I can smell it, and it's making me very hungry.
Oh, like chili mince chili.
chili mince chili,
Right,
chili con
right.
carne.
Any of your chilies gone into that recipe, JB?
Some of my chili powder, but Jess sent me a picture. She was like, "How spicy is this powder?" And I said, "I don't know, taste it." And she said, "Absolutely not." So we'll find out. We'll find out. I think she just put a little bit in for now.
No, how about you try it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I looked up the sweet potato variety. By the way, for anyone who's interested, it's the Erato orange. And in your defense, Tony, in the picture, they are very long, very thin. So
Erato orange. Okay.
correct.
We don't
That's
need
the
to
one.
go any further than that.
I will.
That's-
I think I'll go way more next year. Do you know what I mean? I think I'll grow a few tubs next year if that's because it's proven even in the crappiest conditions they've come good. You've got to be, I suppose, on the ball. It's a big pot, so it doesn't dry out dead quick. You know what I mean? I don't know what yours
that's
is
what
like.
I found.
Or is yours not drying out? Because I was thinking, Jimmy, I
No,
wonder if
it's
yours
very
is
rare.
Uh-huh. So
it's looked pretty good, pretty healthy
and it's
throughout.
been throughout this kind of whole season, it's been pretty bulletproof. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's had like a weak mist of water, and it's still just kind of trunched along there. So
I mean, Tony, aside from your peas, what did you lose? I don't recall. I mean, you've had like the golden touch this year. So, and I realize your potatoes or your tomatoes died earlier than you wanted, but you pulled a lot of tomatoes off of there.
Oh, to be honest, Audrey, that the tomatoes has been like a bizarre thing. Do you know what I mean? I realised, when I first did it, I was thinking that was the end of the tomatoes. I was like gutted, to be honest. But then I realised every one of them tomatoes that was a normal sized tomato, be whatever species that I was growing, have come good. But what I've realised was though. And it's my fault, and it's this heirloom business again. I'm not getting it where I just want 4 tomatoes off a plant because it tastes so nice. That's not digging it for me. I'd rather grow
You're a
Romana.
quantity guy, aren't you?
I am, Audrey. I am. That's the you know what I mean? Because you end up with like you end up just using them, and which are lovely. Don't get us wrong, but then you think. Well, I could have had, if it was just like a Romana or a Roma, or whatever, I could have had some sauces bottled, ready for like the depths of winter, the kind of reminders of a summer. And with an heirloom, you don't get that. I mean, honestly, Audrey, I've had a naff year with the Brads, I'll be honest. Brads have been pretty bad.
Yeah, mine were awful this year.
And I would have liked a few Brads like taken through the, into the. I think, to be honest though, the whole idea, the whole thing of laying all that stuff down and everything was to try and drag the tomatoes through into the winter. And it just so happens this year. It's
very bad luck.
Yeah, that's not happened. But yes, I've had the golden touch, Audrey. I must.
You really have. You really have. So, you have nothing. Ian's saying he's gonna do a sweet potato and red pepper harissa if he gets any, and I'm thinking that sounds absolutely delicious.
Nice,
very nice, nice combo.
Mine, if Ian can grow a sweet potato up there, he's even further north than me. You know what I mean? It's going to make my thumbnail look a little bit pathetic. You know what I mean? Like I was planning to do like a frigid cold north. Do you know what I mean? Look at me, sweet potato hero. You know what I mean? And they're seeing like another 100, 200 miles further north, still pushing them out. So, but honestly, that's been my. I'll show you again. It's just like a shop. We get them like that in the shops. Do you know what I mean? They come over that. You know what I mean? So I wonder if they're actually UK grown anyways. When You buy
Yeah,
them over
maybe
there?
that's just how they are.
I'm
Huh.
really hopeful. I like the idea of doing sweet potatoes as well because they're quite expensive to buy.
Oh,
You know,
yes, yes.
sweet potatoes compared to your standard white potatoes, which are pennies, they're pence. I do quite like the idea of having quite a nice sweet potato haul. Save a few pennies, you know. That's what I'm all about.
I'm trying to think, GB, what did we pay? I'm sure it was expensive, man.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
were really expensive though. Yeah, don't
yeah,
think about that.
No,
they
I
were.
don't
I'm
think you
sure it
can
was.
say gardening is cheaper. I'm sorry, it's not.
I'm
It's not.
hoping because we've grown those kind of organically. I'm hoping I can do slips from it for next year, but the timing of it is all a little bit tricky, isn't it? It's trying to keep one going long enough in the cupboard till like March. Audrey,
Oh no,
would you put it?
I start my slips in January.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep, because I like to put out a pretty big size slip. And
So
if I can already get them potted, like in a pot, and then transfer the pot outside, even better.
yeah, nice. So you get your sweet potato. Do you pop it in soil and under a grow light?
I do, but
Yeah.
I
Okay.
put
Nice.
it. I last year I found that the old elementary school technique worked the best for me, where you put some toothpicks in the middle of it and then stick one end of it in a glass of water, and it will produce slips. But I do it both ways. I do it that way, and then half buried in the soil, and then just let it start to come up.
Nice. I think I tried it. I tried the water one with a supermarket sweet potato, and it just did nothing. It just went moldy and gross. But
Yes,
I'm guessing they're sprayed with like anti-sprouting stuff. So
right. But if you use your own, you'll have no problem.
fingers crossed. Because
So,
that will be a saving. That will be like the you saved like £15 by doing it that way. So
Oh
so
yeah, they're not cheap to buy here either. If you want to buy slips, but they're so easy. Like at some, actually, I think I threw out over half of mine
wow.
because
So,
they were.
people
Audrey,
selling them on eBay.
just start then, Audrey. Just start from the top. What do I need to do with it? I've never grown a slip before.
Okay, if you have one of your beautiful species there, you you can two ways. You can either bury it halfway in soil, put it under a grow light, and keep it moist, not
Do you bury
soggy.
it? Do you bury
Like,
it that way or
What's
yep,
that
that?
way?
no, I bury it horizontal,
Right.
Horizontal.
and then just kind of like look after it, make sure it's a bit damp but not at all soggy. Otherwise, it might rot. Or you put toothpicks in the center,
What do you mean the
poking.
center? What do you mean the center?
Okay, if you
Give me
hold it up the
specimen.
other way,
If I hold me,
have it going north to south. There you go. In the okay, you're
come on, Audrey, don't be so filthy.
in
Don't be so
the
filthy.
middle in the middle of that potato. You just stick like 3 toothpicks
Also, they come up.
around it, and then stick the bottom part in a glass of water,
Oh, right, right,
and then you just keep changing the water.
right.
He's got the water as well. He's got everything for the
Oh,
demonstration.
that's for the toothache. That's for the
Okay,
swallow the
you with
pills.
that sweet potato is like JB with his spring pepper plants.
Yes, I remember that, JB, young man.
The
Come back
pride.
immediately.
The
Yeah.
pride.
What does that look like?
Oh,
Right. Oh.
hilarious.
How many slips, Audrey, would you get if I did it horizontal in the soil like that?
Well, and again that depends. I like I said, mine were more successful in the glass last year, but I've also had years where much more successful in the soil. So that's why I do them both ways because, yeah, I want to get my slips. So I just take a couple and do it both ways.
Yeah, interesting.
But I probably got. I mean, I ended up with seven or nine. I can't remember outside. Nice big clumps. So I at least got 7 to 9. But like I said, I think I disposed of about half of them. So I had a
And
lot.
I guess you just does it just snap
It
off?
snaps off. It snaps off, and it's got roots attached to it.
Right,
And
right.
then you just either root that in, put that in water by itself, and let it just turn into a mass of roots.
All right.
Could you use some rooting powder? Yes, I've got that handy as well. I just-
I
or
wouldn't.
I could even use some, root group mycorrhizal from the grow. My God!
And I'd put the mycorrhizal in when I planted it out, but
Right. Oh,
I wouldn't use rooting hormone because the roots are already attached.
right.
That's kind of the cool part when you snap them off. There, it's like when you're seeding ginger. Like it has the roots growing off it. You snap it and you take the roots with the slip, and if the slip doesn't have any, stick it in water and it'll have them in no time. That's the quick.
Interesting.
The time consuming piece is getting the green growth. Turning that into roots really quick.
GB,
So
when do you think you're going to have a little fiddle about?
When it dies off, I'm not.
Right.
I'm not meddling. I don't want to risk anything with those. I've only got one tub. It's like my one chance, So I'm leaving them.
well, I'm thinking about rooting around a little bit because I'm like, there's all
you
this
could've made
activity.
me.
Wait a minute, because my leaves have started to show signs of, yeah, we're wrapping up, I think.
Ooh.
But I would normally give it till almost Halloween before I
Yeah,
pull
mine
them.
look okay, so I'm gonna leave them.
Yeah.
Leave them. I'm also really nervous, so I don't want to look yet. Now that I've got Tony's to compete with.
And Ian's asking, could you just take them from store-bought sweet potatoes? I would
Well, yeah,
only
that's
do
what I
that if
tried.
I bought organic
Hmm.
and gave them a good scrub. So I thought whatever, because I even think organic now are putting something on them, not so they're just not sprouting I mean, you've seen what onions do. If you have them in a little spot with just getting a little light, they just start growing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, so I think you sure can. That's how mine started. I just buy them organic from Trader Joe's. Yeah.
It's sacrificing
Nice.
one. I know it's for the greater good, but it's sacrificing something like that, which is a prime specimen, just to I'm not going to say waste it, but there's a chance it would fail. And then you think, well, bugger, I could have just bought them. But I can't remember
Well,
what we did
you gotta like sometimes one has to be sacrificed for the team.
for the.
I usually sacrifice about 4 to 6 for the team
Never.
because this
Right.
team wants to win. So
Right.
we're gonna sacrifice heavy.
If I get four to six, I'll be happy. You know what I mean? If there's that many in the pot, I've got a.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say I've got this feeling where that's the only one, and everything else is like kind of tiny and little. You know what I mean? And like how you pull a potato, there's loads of little things like that sticking to the roots.
Nicola was saying she doesn't think she can buy organic sweet potato in the UK. I think a lot of that is because even the vegetables that are just grown for you are grown better than they are here. We have so much pesticide, and I mean our commercial farming industry is not clean.
I
So
don't think we're too dissimilar, certainly in terms of like fungicide and pesticide and that kind of thing.
I just know I have a friend who's very gluten intolerant.
Mm.
Like celiac kind of intolerant, and he can eat bread in the UK.
Interesting.
Ian's just said Waitrose does organic sweet potatoes.
There you go.
There you go. Waitrose.
Well, I was thinking about Waitrose earlier as you were talking about fancy onions in jars, and I don't even know what Waitrose is other than it's snooty. That's all I've gathered. It's kind of a snooty grocery store.
$2.60 for 4. Ian says, I think.
Well, if you can get slips from that, you're saving some money.
But I don't know. Would they be not like brought into the country, like you know what I mean, like on a fast boat from somewhere, or do you think they're grown? Because we need the ones that can
No idea.
our climate.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, it depends when you buy them. I
That's
would
very
buy
true.
them when it's sweet potato harvest time. because chances are better those will be more local to you because they'll be
Yeah,
cheaper for
true.
the grocery store to sell those. And so I would think if you buy them in like the middle of April, my guess is those are not well unless they were really stored well. But
Mm.
you have a bigger chance of them not being local.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Everybody's chiming in with the Nicholas saying everyone's kind of in the L. Like, Sainsbury's has got them too. I like Sainsbury's. I'll be honest. Sainsbury's is a nice supermarket. Anything else? Anything
I
else?
have another. I looked up the Keith Singleton soil conditioner just now. It's actually quite interesting. It's a mix of composted bark, which is very silver grow of them. They've got some straw, animal manure, and seaweed as well, which is a really interesting mix.
Well,
Also, if you get
the
if you get
from
loads, you can get them for like
Egremont,
£6.
JB, which is not that far from the west coast. You know what I mean? So,
It's
but
very interesting.
probably 2 mile from Stellarfield. You know, like the nuclear power plant over there. You know what I mean?
You get all
So
the fish with 3 eyes swimming around like in Simpsons.
I think they actually do like pallets, but again, it's getting pallets to my. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would buy, like a pallet of the stuff, but it would be dropped off way. You know what I mean? Be load of kind of heaving and humping there to get that up to my allotment.
I've got so much well rotted manure this year, so I'm really hoping I'm just going to load it on. Last year, I probably put about 25 bags on, and this year I'm going like whole hog, just like 50 bags pretty much. We used loads of it in the back garden, in the front garden last year, but this year it's all for the allotment. And I'm hoping for good things. I have noticed already digging around in some of the raised beds, way more like soil life and that kind of thing. So like loads more worms, which is a very good sign. I think it's moving in the right direction. But
It
it would
is.
be interesting to try this Keith Singleton stuff. I know Jesse swears by the composted horse manure I'm using. So.
Anything else, Audrey? I know we're going to cut this short today. I'm going to go and take some tablets, but anything else while we're kind of anything? Nothing. Anything happening this week?
You had any more exciting recipes, Audrey?
Oh, I always have exciting recipes. My freeze dryer's not here yet. Did I mention that?
The freeze dryer.
It's still sitting in Romulus, Michigan. I'm like, we could drive there and get it.
Wow.
But who do you even call? Like, someone has it. Where is it? Some creepy big facility somewhere. So yeah, I'm still waiting. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I have a list like 25 things long of what I want to do. And all these things take like 30 hours to do. So I'm going to be at this quite a while.
Very good.
So I'm very anxious to see what
You have a freeze drying YouTube channel.
Well, it's going to be a lot of content when it first comes out.
Yes.
So
That's so good.
and the garden's kind of winding down ish. So I don't think that would be a bad thing. Yes, I'm trying to think what else is happening this week.
I ask because
go ahead.
I tried my very own exciting recipe yesterday for the first time. I finally made cowboy candy out of chili peppers.
Did you?
And it's so good. It's so good. I used the chili chomp recipe, which is like just jalapenos, but I only had like 6 of those. So also, holy crap! You did the chili chomp jalapenos, didn't you, Tony?
What do you mean?
With the seeds that you sowed, were they normal jalapenos or were they the chili chomp ones?
I think the chili chumps.
The ones I have are like scorching hot.
Oh, yes,
like blow your head off. I could not believe it. I bit into one yesterday when I was prepping them. I was just like, whoa. So it's very good because I think if I did just cowboy candy with those, it would be too much. It would be too much for me. So I did a mixture of like some sweet peppers as well, and sublime. I don't think that jar is going to last too long. But I did like 1.5 kilos of peppers, so it's quite a good way to use them up because the peppers have started rolling in now, which I'm very, very happy about.
Yeah, no, cowboy candy is really good.
Very, very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
I recommend the chili chump recipe. It's on YouTube if you've not seen it.
Well, Audrey did it as well in Patreon, you know what I mean? So there's a little hint if anyone wants to watch,
Oh, did
come
you?
over, talk about Patreon, please support us.
Is that on there? Very good. Very good.
Right then.
Yeah, no.
Now, Audrey.
So you're gonna go take more pain medication,
I'm
Tony,
going to, yes.
and fondle your sweet potato.
Play with my sweet potato. Yes, look at my sweet potato all by myself.
Can you see? Oh no, I'm gonna.
No, you don't go there, Audrey. You're just getting smutty, and it's not like
I'm
you.
not. I'm
It's not like
self-editing. I'm self-editing. I'm not.
Right then, Audrey, where can we find you, my dear?
Real Food Comes Dirty. YouTube, Instagram.com, and Facebook.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you. JB.
You can find me at naturallyjb on YouTube and Instagram and Patreon.
Patreon as well, yes. And like I mentioned, Jess is doing some printing, and I think probably still having a nightmare with the printers in this world. So we will see, I'm sure, Jess next week. Everyone, look after yourselves. Take good care. Toodle bit.
Bye.
Thanks,
Have a good week.
Bye.